Hi everyone, welcome to Pregame at Franklin's. My name is Jason Franklin, and I have a guest that you guys are very familiar with, Joe Wilner. He's joined us from next door. And how you doing today, Joe?
Good, man. Good.
All right, so I don't know if you guys know this, but our president right now is Donald Trump. And this man is going into the White House just taking things out. He's made the first executive order since Bill Clinton in 1993. He's in this mofo, and he's pretty much telling everyone that he's here, he's large, and he's in charge. And so I've written up all the things that Donald Trump has done. Now, I'm not going to read all this stuff because a lot of it is you either already know or it's probably just not worth the breath. But there are some things that he is doing that have mixed opinions. Now, the first thing that I noticed is he withdrew from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is a 12-nation trade deal he had heavily criticized, and he thought that it was pretty much destroying the American workforce. And so what he did is he pretty much just withdrew it. I mean, he basically took America completely out of it, which is now, in his mind, going to wake up corporations and start bringing jobs back to the U.S. But at the same time, this Trans-Pacific Partnership got all the nations to agree on something, which made a guarantee against, ever aggression being taken out on each other through war or whatever. This agreement did bring countries together. So a lot of people are taking it as in this is the end of, world peace as we know it, which quite honestly, it's not world peace right now. There's some pretty messed up things going on in the Middle East as well as Syria. So there are two sides to this story, but I do believe that the American workforce should come first in America. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree. I think the American workforce needs to come first, and that, like you were saying earlier, this Trans-Pacific Partnership allowed business owners to define what is fair for workers,
right,
and that it allowed them to exploit workers globally,
right,
rather than honoring American workers locally.
Right.
And so hopefully it does bring some wealth back to the United States and help the working class, because I think they are struggling.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there are so many people right now, the blue-collar guys that are out of work, but they are just too expensive to corporations. And in that way, that scares them. To know that America, like a guy like Donald Trump, can make executive orders now where he's not afraid of the repercussions from a small community. He's thinking about the greater community. I hope that he makes right decisions. Honestly, I don't think we're ever going to find out if he makes the right decision until later on down the road. But I'm going to keep going through this because there's a lot of interesting stuff that he's starting to work on. After he talked about the media reporting on the size of his inauguration crowds, he thinks the CIA was a part of it. So now he's pretty much going in and finding out who is the poison in the CIA, because he's very, very convinced that somebody was hired into the federal government and is out to take out the American government.
Really?
So he right now has paused all the hiring for federal agents or basically divisions within the government that hire people to know, I guess, confidential knowledge. And so he has completely put pause on that stuff. He is trying to find out if there is a rat in America. He knows that it's someone who doesn't like America, so he already knows that it's probably someone who's not a citizen. And that's what makes him think that if he takes out all this immigration stuff, that he's inevitably going to come up with the answer of who's to blame for all the BS going on in America.
So that he's stopping this flow so he can evaluate the situation.
Exactly. And so it could be a permanent thing. So I got to stay unbiased. It still could be a permanent thing. But I think it's just his way or his exercise to really ensure the safety of Americans right now. To know that in this very emotional time, with a lot of people very emotionally struck through an election, that the only thing that could have made America appeal to this election so emotionally was the media. Now, he thinks that corporations own the media. Maybe somebody didn't want Donald Trump to win, whatever it may be. He's trying to get to the bottom of it. Now, you also have lobbyists who are really angry with him right now, imposing a 5-year lobbying ban for administration of officials. He's reorganizing the National Security Council's structure and calling for a plan to be delivered to him within 30 days of how to defeat ISIS.
Yeah.
He's putting, basically, like I said, Donald Trump's going in there and he's like, blah,
He's making America great again.
He, in his mind, well, I don't know if he is yet, but we hope to God that he is, because he made a lot of decisions. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm curious how this will work out. You read this last point about 30 days on how to defeat ISIS. You think it's going to happen? You think they're just, like, if he says, hey, look, I'm done with this bullshit, like, quit stalling this war, just tell me how you're going to do it and do it. Do you think it's going to happen?
I think ISIS is like an organization that keeps growing and you don't know who's a part of it. It's like anonymous when it comes to online hacking and stuff like that. You know that the community is either continuously growing towards their hate towards America and our lifestyle, or you come into a situation where you could possibly take everyone out in America that's poisoning our news and poisoning our media. But there's going to be some risks. Like, there's going to be some risks involved that you're going to make a lot of people feel uncomfortable because they can't come into America. But he's looking at it is he wants to get this taken care of. He wants this done. He wants this checked off his checklist. And he's going to do whatever it takes to get it done as soon as possible. It's gotten to the point where I don't care if my president is an angel. I don't care if my president is the best man in the world and Mr. Hey, how are you doing? I don't care. If he gets into the White House and he starts kicking ass, and I hope he's kicking ass in the direction for the greater United States of America, then I support you. But if he starts doing these decisions that are like, he's in the freaking White House, and he's just shooting up every politician like, you're a liar, you're a piece of shit, I heard about you.
Yeah, it goes on a witch hunt.
He goes on a witch hunt, but then the witch hunt really finds him empty-handed and he has no proof of any situation, then I'm going to be like, okay, Donald Trump, you sound like a little crazy conspiracy theorist. But if he goes in there and he starts finding out things and telling the public, telling America, like, media's going to be even more frustrated with him, but he doesn't care. He really doesn't care.
Yeah, and I don't think he's paranoid. Like, I do think that the media has an agenda and it chooses a certain bias and functions in that way.
Right.
And I do think that there is a lot of poison in the United States, not just from a foreign presence or, ISIS coming over and trying to infiltrate our economy and our infrastructure, but from the citizens themselves. Like, we've been turned against each other more than any other time, and it's not productive. Like, it does nothing but make us panic and bring us down. So, what do you think?
I feel like there's differences going on from now versus why should it be different than elections in the previous years? You know what I'm saying?
It's almost that sense of entitlement. You've talked about it before, but our whining generation that just loves to complain. And it loves to say, hey, look, like, I'm not rich yet because of this guy. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of stuff that is blamed on certain things is really our own laziness coming to bite us in the ass. So
I'm going to talk about it. I think, I agree personally. I agree with how Donald Trump handled the Mexican president. Like, in his mind, he knows that Mexico is not safe to go to right now. Like, I went to Rocky Point, I felt sketch. My friends went to Cabo, they said there were situations where they felt a little sketch. Like, Mexico is not a safe area right now. I see what Donald's trying to get at is that he knows that the police, if you watch any documentary about Mexico, the police are as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than the criminals themselves because they abuse their power in Mexico. And that's fact. Like, that's literally what's going on in Mexico, and he knows that the government's a part of it because they're running it. Now, Donald Trump called that man, like I would hope my president would, after he knows what's going on in the Mexican government and he knows what's going on. I want my president to be like, you know what? We're either going to do it this way or we're not going to have affairs anymore. And I know you don't want that. I know our countries get along very great, but we need to rediscuss our trade agreement because we think that, it's not the healthiest for our country. That's all he really wanted to do. I mean, that's all I could really see him doing. Obviously, I don't know what he said on his phone, but he wants to make a wall. And this president knows that, who knows, maybe a lot of the transport of trade is not going on legally, and it's going on illegally. And then when Donald Trump builds the wall and he starts monitoring it a little bit more than usual on the traffic as well as just people coming over the border, he believes that he's going to be able to stop a lot of this illegal drugs coming into our country, stop all this stuff. So I see where he's getting at. But again, you go on the other side of the fence and you watch it and you can see why this is a little ridiculous, Donald. Like, Mexico's right and south of us. We want to have good relations with them. This isn't the best thing you could be doing. Building a wall, we have a lot of the people who are doing jobs in America that people who are citizens of America just don't want to take. And these immigrants, they take those jobs, like whether it be in food production or just any job that Americans don't want to take.
And I think that's such an issue.
Yeah.
And one that's being addressed by him canceling the Trans-Pacific Partnership
Mm-hmm.
is, sure, there are jobs that Americans don't want to take,
Right.
but that's because they're extremely hard to do. They require a lot of effort, time, patience,
Right.
and they don't pay well because so much of it's outsourced, and it just lets people take advantage of other people. And maybe the price of living here is too high. I don't know what the
I mean, it a lot of it has to do with just the way our economy is and the way how much our dollar is worth. That if China doesn't have to pay their citizens as much as Americans do in order for them to live a healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a fact. That's their government versus our government. Well, when you sit there and let's say you're the leader of a corporation, and you know that if you wanted to pay an American citizen, you'd pay him $14 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just sent it overseas and you could get the transport and everything taken care of, you only have to pay that person $6.99.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not paying an American worker if I found out that.
Yeah.
But, that Trans-Pacific Partnership, that created an unfair advantage for nations outsourced because they could pay them less money. Mm-hmm. And that person could live a healthy lifestyle or a lifestyle that could be somewhat comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Donald Trump says, how's that fair? We have no mom and pop stores in America. I don't know if you noticed this, but America used to be filled with mom and pop stores, about you going down to the local diner, about you going down to the local grocery store. But we don't have that anymore. Why? Because everything's outsourced. Because we found out that we can beat mom and pop stores. We can beat customer service through just price. If things were cheaper, it doesn't matter how nice that mom and pop store is. It doesn't matter how convenient it is. We got you beat because it's cheaper. And money always talks. So the pride of you supporting your local businesses kind of got swept under the rug because everyone was so, oh my God, I go to Walmart and this stuff is only this much.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a competitive, it's not an even competitive field anymore.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because this man doesn't give a crap who you are.
Yeah.
Donald Trump doesn't care who you are. Nobody's safe. He's going in, he's choking, he's climbing up the corporate ladder, just choking out little mofos, like one by one, going, okay, who do you work for? Who do you work for? Fired. Who do you work for? He goes, and he's just choking all the way up to the top, and then all of a sudden he's probably going to get to the top, and he's going to realize that, holy crap, dude, he's in deep water, and America's
I'm the only one left.
Yeah, it's going to be like eyes wide shut thing going on,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I agree. I think that we should examine what he does critically.
Yeah.
And continue to monitor it and not trust blindly in it, but also not hate blindly.
Of course.
And to continue on.
Yeah.
And to move forward as a country.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I think we've pretty much covered all the things that are worth mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just going to end it. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm Jason Franklin.
Joe Woolner.
And thank you for joining us at Pregame at Franklin's. It's been a ball. Later.
See ya. Nice, man.